So we've mentioned some royal nicknames on here before, Bloody Mary, John the Soft Sword, but there are some royal nicknames that are, well, kinda odd. We're going to start here with Edward the First. Most people know him nowadays as the Longshanks due to being 6'2", but his more popular name in the annals of history was the Hammer of the Scots because, well, he fought against Scotland a lot and tended to be rather good at it and brutal about it. His son, Edward II, didn't have an interesting nickname, but Edward's wife, Isabella, the one from Braveheart who in real life was 9 when William Wallace died, is known as the She-Wolf of France because she was the daughter of French King Philip IV, and she led an army against her husband and deposed him. And next up is Ulick Burke McWilliam. That's about as Irish of a name as you're gonna get, also known as Ulick of the Heads. He was a 16th century Irish earl who got his jollies by collecting together all the heads of enemy soldiers who had died in battle against him. I guess there are worse things. William I, best known as William the Conqueror because of all that, 1066 stuff, was also known as William the Bastard because he was the illegitimate child of the Duke of Normandy, Robert the Magnificent, which is a great name for a magician. Ivar the Boneless was a 9th century Viking leader, and historians aren't quite sure where the nickname came from. Some claim it's from him being quick and agile in combat, therefore without bones, but the Old Norse word for bone is also the word for leg, so it might actually have been the Legless because he didn't have legs. Or it's also quite possible that he was the Boneless because he had issues, rising to the occasion. Justinian II, better known as Justinian the Slit-Nosed. He was a Byzantine emperor, was pretty much a tyrant, and was deposed in a rebellion in 695. As punishment for his reign, and because it was kind of a normal-ish punishment for Byzantine royalty, his nose was cut off. He would eventually reclaim the throne in 705, and he had his nose replaced with a solid gold replica. But don't worry, he was killed once and for all by his own soldiers in 711. Olaf the Titbit was king of the Isle of Man from 1112 to 1143. Titbit, or morsel, was a reference to his height. He was kind of short. The same thing happened with Vladislav the Elbow High, who was king of Poland from 1320 to 1333, and Pepin the Short, king of the Franks from 751 to 768, who just happened to also be the father of some guy named Charlemagne. French King Louis V, also known as Louis the Good-for-Nothing or Louis the Do-Nothing, because he reigned for just a year in 987, died without an heir, and ended the over 200-year-long Carolingian dynasty. By the way, it was named Carolingian after Charlemagne. King Ferdinand II of the Two Sicilies. He ruled from 1830 to 1859 and is known as Ferdinand the Bomb, or King Bomb, or the Bomb King. He earned this nickname in 1848 after he ordered the continued shelling of a rebellious city for 7 days after they surrendered, killing quite a few civilians. And if you think that one's dark, how about Connemore the Cursed, a 6th century leader of Brittany? We have a hard time separating fact from legend with this guy, but he was supposedly a rather violent and angry ruler whose legends range from being the origin of the Bluebeard story to him outright being a werewolf. And finally, we have Henry VIII, who was nicknamed Henry the Copper-Nose because he lowered the silver content on English coins, making them mostly copper but with a silver coating. And given that his face was on the coins and the first place the silver would wear off was his nose, that kind of makes sense.